We humans are actually born with two types of ability. I'm talking about the physical ability and the mental ability. Now let's talk about the physical ability. Around you can see the bricklayers, the furniture makers, the sports people like the footballers, basketballers, the acrobatics and all. Those people are using their physical ability to entertain people, to acquire one or two financial support for themselves. Now, let's leave the physical ability for a while. Let's talk about mental ability. Now, this is where everything lies, the mental ability. As a matter of fact, the world in general is governed by some people's mental ability. These people are geniuses. They've designed the world in the way that they foresaw it. They knew some things were going to happen, so they already put some things in place to make these things stable when it starts to happen. Now let's talk about education, the plan of education, taxation, sports, religion, all these things. All these things were not formed with physical ability. It was formed with mental ability. Now this is something that is driving the world. Now let's talk about we as individual. You wake up in the morning, you don't have a job, you don't have anything to do. You are deprived of utilizing your physical ability. Now, people in prison often use their mental ability because they are not deprived of it. You're not in prison, you're free. You should be able to use your mental ability. Now, you need to think beyond your thoughts, look beyond your sight, aim beyond your reach, so that you can begin to understand beyond your knowledge. You can begin to see color when others sees darkness. You can begin to acquire beyond your expectations. Now, when you wake up in the morning, you think to yourself, I don't have a job. That is an obvious fact. Like the first solution to solving a problem is identifying the problem. When you identify this problem, I don't have a job. You start to think, like, how am I going to get a job? Think of every facility that is available for you. Like you have a phone, you have WhatsApp contacts. Do they all have your CV? Do they all know you don't have a job? Like, have you sent out informations like, I'm available for a job, I'm available for any job opening. You have your church members on your phone, you have all these people. Some of them you know, some of them you don't. But this is you thinking. If you think in this direction, you have other people to think for you. So when you make them understand that you have a situation and you want it fixed, you don't have a job, you want a job, you let them know. They can think in that direction like, okay, once I get a opening, I will let you know. You won't achieve anything until you start thinking. Now, in some cases, some people will say, but I don't know what to think, I don't know how to think. There are certain ways to learn how to think beyond your thoughts, what you thought about yesterday, you thought about day before yesterday. There are certain ways to learn how to think beyond these things. First, I will talk about you talking to people with the same goal and desire that are thinking ahead of you. You talk to them, you ask them for advice. Then secondly, you go online, you read, or you go to YouTube, you watch motivational videos. It inspires you, it motivates you, it gives you insight into what you can become if you start thinking. Some people are jobless because they don't think. You have to think. If you don't think, you won't just be all right. That is how it is. You won't be all right if you don't think. So many people think to make a country function. So many people think to make the world function. Now you have just one job, to make yourself function and not malfunction. All you need to do is think. Now, thinking solves your reality. It has nothing to do with fantasy. I want to turn this 100 naira to 1 million naira. That is fantasy. If you're sick, you won't pay your drug bill with fantasy. You will pay it with your reality. Now, if you have a job, your job is to think of how your business can grow, because that is your reality. But the moment you take money from your job and you start, gambling it with luck, maybe you want to live your life with luck, maybe it's going to double, it's going to triple. That is you not thinking. When you think, you will know that growth can start from something you're already doing. Like when you're doing something, that thing can grow if you think. So now, if you want to know how to think, talk to people that have the same goals and desire, go online, read, or go down to YouTube, watch videos. As a matter of fact, you can decide to invest little money in some counselors, some people that can counsel you. When they counsel you, that is you gearing up your life for a positive movement. Sometimes there are some things that are actually advantageous, profitable around you, but just because you don't think, you wouldn't know about it. You wouldn't know about it. As a matter of fact, some people intend not to want to think, because when you think, it's like you're being overwhelmed by the problem. You don't want to think, so you take ecstasy drugs, you drink, you want to forget your worries. But once all these things clear off, you're coming back to your problem. You still have to think. So these abilities, the physical ability and the mental ability, your physical ability will need your mental ability, even though you don't have a lot of mental ability, which is your brain and your mind. The difference between the brain and the mind: the brain help you think, while the mind help you decide. That is all I know about that. But what I'm going to tell you is, if you want to get a job, at least you have to think that, okay, I need a job. That much you have to think, even though you don't have a big IQ or a very large IQ. You have to think first that I need a job for you to get a job. You understand? You take a pen, you take a paper, you start drafting out things, writing down, like, okay, this is a problem. Problem always requires solution. But when you have a problem and you take most time that you're supposed to use in thinking about the solution, you use that time to think more of the problem, you will begin to realize that you are actually the problem. That is because you're making the problem overwhelm you. So you need to know how to think. You need to think beyond your thoughts, so that you begin to understand beyond your knowledge. There are some things around you that are advantageous, but you don't know about it because you don't think. You need to relax. Like I said before, your WhatsApp contacts, they are very, 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 very important. Except you're not polite enough to know how to converse with these people. And knowing this, you can actually go online and read also. Your CV can be sent out in PDF. It doesn't really matter. People will go through your CV and they will know that, oh, this guy is open for job. You understand? Now, when you say you're open for job, you can specify that, okay, this is my qualification, this is it, this is it, this is it. You're not open for any kind of job. But it depends on how broke you are, and if you want to start from somewhere, you might want to do some form of job anyway to just keep up. So in my next video, we'll be talking about intelligence and knowledge. See you then.